Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this video, we're just going to take a real quick look at these Mega Construx Heroes minifigures. They asked me if I wanted to show them to you guys, so I said sure, what the heck, why not? They're just, fun little inexpensive figures, like a stocking stuffer type thing, so it's good timing, for this time of year. This is something you might want to pick up, and these guys are more along the lines of the things you guys are interested in, so I figured, yeah, what the heck, I'll go ahead and show my audience what we have. So I have 6 different ones here today, obviously, and I'll go ahead and I'll take them off the stand so we can take a closer look. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to point out the packaging for these guys. It's not like your usual Mega Construx minifigure. It's an actual little like action figure package, so it's a little bit more fun for like a stocking stuffer type thing. You can see the figure right there and some accessories and things like that. So it's a little bit nicer of an item than just your standard blind bag. So it's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and move on. I'm just going to run through each of the little figures just so you guys have an idea of what they are in case you are interested in any of these properties. So the first we're going to look at are Skeletor and He-Man. We'll get He-Man in just a second. And just in case you're curious, with the stand and all, he stands just about 6 centimeters. Without the stand, closer to 5.5. That makes him just over 2 inches, about 2 1/8 inches. So very, very tiny figure, but you can see he does come with an accessory, which is his staff, which is a pretty cool little nicely sculpted piece. And then the figure itself. These are not high-end collectibles, but they're pretty cool for what they are. I'm not personally a big collector of this kind of thing, but I know a lot of you guys are, so I figured I'd show you. And you can see it's got some really nice paintwork for the size. The face has a bunch of different color in there. The eyes are red with black, and then the face is yellow and green and light green, and there's a little bit of purple in there for the mouth. They painted the chest piece up pretty nicely. And it's just, relatively nicely done. It's very, very cool. They all come with their own little base, by the way, with their name on them. And then the articulation, they're all pretty much the same for the articulation, so I'll just show you this one independently, and then the others I'll just kind of go through a little bit more quickly. It's a ball peg for the neck, but you get pretty good range out of it. Hopefully we don't focus on my thumb more than the tiny little figure, but pretty good range for that. This is a separate piece, so it moves around nicely. The shoulders are essentially just a fixed ball hinge, so they rotate and have their hinge. There's no actual bicep swivel, but you do have a single hinged elbow, which also does have a swivel built in. So that will provide you with that articulation. And then, of course, the wrist just has a little bit of a swivel in there so you can have them hold the accessory. The waist has a twist, and then the hips are actually on ball pegs. I'll show you from behind because of well, I guess I can show you from the front because this is a soft piece anyway. It's a separate piece again. So the hips are actually a ball peg, so they can move around side to side a little bit, but they're mostly just going to go forward and back, but you do have a little bit of range. And then you can also see the single jointed knee, which gives you almost 90 degrees. So, they're not the most elaborate thing in the world, but for just a few dollars, I think it's a pretty cool a fun thing, stocking stuffer type thing. So there's Skeletor, and I'll have photos at the end so you can see them closer up next to each other. So there's Skeletor. Now we have He-Man. A lot of the same parts on this guy, not entirely though. We have some unique sculpt, of course. So very nicely done with the red on the chest piece, which is also a separate soft piece. The face, obviously they don't have the most detail in the world, but it's definitely good enough. It's recognizable, right? And then they painted up the belt pretty nicely. That's cool. The shield has a little bit of paint on there, decent sculpt. The sword is just sculpted, but that's okay. Then the only real downside to this guy is they had to mold his lower legs in the brown for the boots. So they had to paint this part on the side of the knee, the skin tone, and it's not perfect. It's definitely not great. It's not a big deal, obviously, for this kind of figure, but it's worth noting that is somewhat of an issue, but still pretty cool little figure. I think these two are probably my favorite of the bunch, even though I'm not into He-Man or Masters of the Universe at all, but they're still pretty cool. All right, next one. Let's go ahead and look at the Xenomorph. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be interested in the Xenomorph. It is a lot more unique than the rest of these guys. It's pretty cool. It has all the same articulation still, so it moves nicely. It does have a big ball peg for the tail, so you can move that tail around. It's not a bendy tail, be aware of that, but it still moves around nicely. And then he does have these clip-on hands, which personally, I think it looks better without them. These just look kind of weird, but if you do want the longer hands, then you can just clip that on, but then you end up with kind of 2 hands. So I'm not a big fan of that. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. It's a little bit more of a basic paint job, but since it's a dry brush everywhere, it looks kind of nice. It looks pretty cool. And then they did paint, of course, the teeth in there, and then the head moves around on a ball peg. So, it's not bad. It's a pretty cool little piece. I was hoping the tail would be bendy, but it's not. but still, you know, it's okay. It's fine. Again, these are a few bucks, so we don't need to expect too much out of them. But these things blow away those little Jada Nano metal figs. Those things are just a total waste of $1. Even at $1, they're no good. And I think these things are perfectly fine for their price point, so that's pretty cool. All right, so there's our Xenomorph, and he does come with 2 accessories, which I think you guys will like. We have 2 different face huggers. One that is just the kind you'd set on the table, something like that. No paint on these guys, unfortunately, but it is a decent sculpt. And then we do have one that's closed around a head, presumably. So you can use it on anybody you want. I have Captain Picard right here, so I'll just show you how that works. And just kind of, it's a stretchy kind of material, a little bit flex to it. So you can just put that right on the face, and there you go. You got your Mega Bloks face hugger, a little bit darker than most other Mega Bloks things, or Mega Construx. I'm never going to remember that. I've called it Mega Bloks for so long. So anyway, we have to talk about the Colonial Marine before we talk about the Star Trek people. I almost said Star Wars. Let's just get a fan debate going right now. Which one's better, Star Trek or Star Wars? Anywho, this guy is another one that's particularly nicely done. A lot of paint on this guy. You can see we've got the kind of like a cookies and cream type of plastic going on for the pants to give it a little bit of a camo look, and then an actual camo paint job for all the green parts, and a little bit more detail there on the chest with that little skull and crossbones and a little tie thingy and some shotgun shells. Very, very nicely done. And then we have the face. They painted the communications thing, the little mic on the head, and it's just a pretty cool little thing. And we have a little attachment back here for the light/camera thingy. We have his little knife, and then we have his gun. Very, very cool. Nice little figure. The helmet does come off if you want it to, so you can just pop that off. Unfortunately, it does leave a hole in his head, but what are you going to do? I mean, you got to do something to get that helmet to connect, so that's the way it is. But still, pretty cool little figure. And of course, you can also take off the armor if you wanted to. It's a separate piece. I guess we could do that. I suppose we could try to do that real quick. Should just come right off, I think. Let's see. It pinches on kind of, so it's going to take a little bit of force. There we go. So if you wanted to, I don't know why you would want to do this, but I know people ask me these kind of things. Can I take off the armor? Yes, you can. So now you've just got your tank top Marine. There you go. There you go. It works. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Captain Picard. Probably the best captain, I think. Anywho. And it's a little bit more basic, but it's okay. We have this kind of like pearlescent maroon for the shirt, so that it looks kind of like the metallic material, and we have the logo on the chest, which is nicely done. He comes with a little data pad, which has a nice little detail on there, and he has his rifle type weapon, whatever those things are called, I don't know. Obviously it's not the best likeness in the world, but it does have the horseshoe hair, so it's recognizable enough, and it has the same articulation as the other guys. So there's that one. And then lastly we have the Borg drone, which is another one of the particularly good ones. I think we have a little bit of extra paint on there, nice detail going around. These kind of pieces can just be removed and replaced. There's one on the chest, one on the side, one on the back. Those are all interchangeable. He has 2 separate guns. So here's the thing about the guns. You don't probably want to give him 2. And the cool thing about him, though, is that you also get an alternate piece that goes on the head. So if you wanted to, you could do like a Captain Picard's been assimilated type of thing. So that goes into the peg hole on his head. And then now you can build out your Borg Captain Picard and give him the Borg gun if you wanted to. So that's kind of a nice little bonus feature. He's got this rubber tuber right here, which adds a little bit of extra detail. And of course his armor can come off too, but you definitely wouldn't want to do it for him. But still very, very nicely done. You can, of course, swap out his eyepiece if you wanted to. But yeah, nice little minifigures. I think these are cool things. If you know somebody that's into this kind of stuff, these would make a great stocking stuffer. And they didn't ask me to say that. It's just a coincidence that I'm doing these before Christmas, so I figured I'd go ahead and mention that. But yeah, I mean, they're cool. I appreciate them, and I'm not into this kind of thing at all. So I can only imagine somebody who is into this kind of thing would definitely like them. So that'll do it, guys. I'll throw a couple photos here at the end so you can see them, but these right here are probably my favorites. I think they're pretty cool. I think you guys might like them too. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day, almost, except for lately because I've been too busy, but usually they're every single day. We talk about all kinds of different things. We play video games. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.